What's going on, everybody? It's Chris from the Dog Pound Cruisers, coming to you today from one of our top level sponsors, Valhalla Fabrication and Restoration, right out here, just outside of Washington, New Jersey, on Route 57. So what we're going to do today is, being that they're one of our top level sponsors, we are going to take a walk inside. We're going to meet the owner, AJ, and we're going to learn a little bit about what Valhalla Restoration does as a business and what they can do for you. So let's take a walk inside. All right, so here we are. We're inside Valhalla Restorations, and this is the owner, AJ Biancone.
Yes.
And AJ has had, how many years you had this business for?
13 years.
13 years. 13 years. I've been told you've probably been in it a little bit longer than that, though.
36 years in the business.
So 36 years experience, 13 years at this particular area with Valhalla Restorations.
Yes. Yep.
So I know a lot of people know that you guys do a lot of high-end restorations. We've seen some of your stuff at SEMA shows. You've won some great awards at some, even Steel City.
Yeah.
You got some great stuff there. I mean, you have one of your trucks right here, the Copper Apple that you guys have done.
Old school Rods magazine. Yeah.
So they've been in a lot of stuff, but it's not just high-end stuff you do as well. I think you can cater pretty much anybody.
Yeah, we try to fit everybody's budget. It's about trying to suit everybody's needs. Not everybody can afford a high-end build, so we try to work with somebody's budget and try to accomplish, what they want.
Realistically,
realistically, trying to meet their expectations. Sometimes it's, hey, we can't do this, but we can help you. We can get you where you want to be. Not everything has to be high end.
so that's the thing. So if somebody were to come in here and say, "Hey, listen, man, I don't want to spend $150,000, but I do have, $35,000 or $50,000 for a build."
Right. And then we'll go over the car real well and try and assess it and be like, "Look, this is what we can do for you."
So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that, it's not just, you don't want people to have the impression that it's only high-end work, and your high-end work obviously speaks volumes for the quality of what you do, but it's more about also letting people know that, hey, you can come in here if you want to have a nice driver.
Exactly. I mean, you get a lot of people that are entry level into this hobby. It's gotten very big over the last 20 years with all the TV shows and everything, and I get it. Everybody wants to be involved and go out and cruise and be part of it. But not everybody's got that open checkbook. So, the big thing that I try to encourage people too is when they're getting into this is to take someone like myself to look at something before they buy it. We get a lot of buyer's remorse. People go and buy these cars and they think it's a great deal, and then they bring it here and then we're going over it and I'm like, oh my God, this is wrong, that's bad, this is, there's a lot more that goes into it than people realize when they're getting into this as a hobby.
So what you're saying is if somebody goes out and looks at a car, they may say, I have a $30,000 budget, I can buy this car for $10,000, but maybe it needs a lot more work than something else.
It's, educating themselves. I'm always educating my customers, especially people that are new into it. Maybe it's the first one that they've had in 30, 40 years. A lot's changed. Costs on parts alone can murder a project, and people's expectations, what they want compared to what they can afford, are two different things.
That's very true. So realistically, you service all aspects of the industry, whether you're willing to help your clients go look for a car and get your opinion on that,
yes,
to building their car, to working out their budget. You pretty much take care of anything and everything.
I've been paid to travel across the country to look at cars for people. It's cheaper to pay me to go look at something than it is to make a $70,000 mistake.
That's very true, folks. So AJ obviously has a lot of experience in the business and does a lot of different projects and a lot of things.
Okay.
Obviously, you can see he's a full service industry here. He cares a lot about his clientele, and wants to let you know that he's available again to look at cars, to do your builds, whatever you need to do. And speaking of builds, I think it's time we take a walk down the shop and check out some of the stuff you do. All right, so here we are out in the shop at Valhalla Restoration, and behind us actually is a very unique 68 Corvette that AJ has been working on with his guys. So AJ, why don't you tell them a little bit about this custom here?
This is one of our higher ends. It's a full custom 68, which they call C3 Corvette, that we blended with C7 attributes. So we remolded the fiberglass from scratch to accept the headlights. We did the taillights, 4-port exhaust. It has an LS and a 5-speed, and the interior was even modeled after a C7. So we did a custom engine cover to replicate the body of a Stingray. And then we have a removable Stingray emblem that we made, 3-dimensional.
That's pretty serious.
Side profile, it still looks like a 68, but you get these C7 headlights. And if you come over here, you'll see we replicated the shapes of a C7 interior. We have C7 seats in it. And then around the back, we raised the whole rear deck so we had room to fit the C7 tail lights and the Mach 4-point exhaust tips.
So I got a question on a build like this. I mean, this is obviously super custom. What's the timeline on a build like this?
It comes down to the money,
Obviously, yeah.
and time. I mean, there's a couple thousand hours in this car.
Wow.
So, you know, it takes a lot of time, and this was all made from scratch. There was no molds, there was no buying anything. This all started with the idea of my customer asking me, you know, what do you think of the new taillights? And I'm like, well, if you do the taillights, you got to do the headlights. It's got to, you know, and it just kind of developed from there. So it was done over the course of a few years, you know, little at a time. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. I think I remember last time I stopped in the shop, we were talking about stuff. You said GM actually took an interest in what you did.
Yeah, we were at the Syracuse Nationals, and GM Performance was actually eyeing the car up and spent a good 45 minutes with me. And unfortunately, they did not do SEMA last year. Otherwise, they would have, he said, we would have loved to have it there in GM's development area.
So that's pretty impressive. You know, we talk about quality work, and when General Motors, who creates these cars and molds them and makes them, takes an interest in the work that's done by a shop, I would have to say that's a pretty big accolade.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good. It feels really good.
Well, as you can see, this is one of the higher end builds we talked about, and let's take a walk over. We're going to check out some other builds. All right, folks, so now we talked about the Stingray Vet that they did here. Now AJ is going to give you a tour of the inside of Valhalla and other projects they have going on. So AJ?
Yeah. This is a 53 Bel Air. It's going on an Art Morrison chassis. This is obviously going to be another higher end build. We have a stock restoration that we also do. We don't just do one-off customs. It's a 69 Coronet, the original owner, bringing it back to stock life. We actually have a Jeep in the shop. Most of the collision shops don't want to touch older vehicles and rust. This gentleman had one like this in high school, wanted to relive his youth again, contacted me, and you know, yes, it's not $1 million over the top kind of car, but we looked at the Jeep and we were able to work with a budget that worked within his means to accomplish what he wanted. Make it roadworthy and give him a nice paint job.
I guess to quote on from 60 Seconds, when they were in the body shop, it has a certain sort of, you know, like an attachment value.
It does, and that's the thing. You know, I tell people that come in here, I can't price sentimental value. That's on them. So, you know, when you get thrown numbers at people, they get all shocked and they're like, oh, but you know, it was my grandfather's car, and I'm like, I get that, and there's times where I tell people, listen, this car's not really worth doing. You're better off selling this and buying something better. You know, if you don't have the money to do a full off restoration, well then maybe that's not the vehicle for you to do. Let it be sold as a driver, and you know, the money that you would have put into it, find something a little better. Keep looking.
So it seems
work
to me
your way up.
That honesty with your clients is much more important than making
Absolutely. I think it avoids and averts a lot of issues further down the road. I'd rather get people on the same page up front. And listen, there's been times where people want that higher end thing, but they think that like TV, it's got to be done in 5 weeks, and I don't have that kind of money. And I'm like, well, stretch your budget out and turn it into a 2-year build. If it's something that you're going to keep and you want, and that's what a lot of these wind up turning into heirlooms. Then build what you want the first time. Expand your budget, expand the timeline, and try to get what you want the first time.
Which exactly goes with working within the means, working with the budget, working with his clients, and obviously you see based on that information that that's what AJ focuses on here is his clients' needs, and that's number one. So what else do we have? I mean, obviously he's got my favorite car on top. He's got the Merc that he won't sell me.
I got a '67 Camaro going on a roadster shop. chassis. There's a 34 Ford behind you in for some small touch-up and repairs. We did some, it's a fiberglass body, we did some touch-ups on the fender and the hood, and we're going to be doing some airbrushing repair with our friend Javier Soto, who's going to do some airbrush repairs to the flame job from stone chips and stuff.
Now I see one of you guys working on a vehicle here. Was this the one that we had seen last week when we stopped on?
Yes.
So this was kind of in pieces.
Yeah, so this is a 34 Vicky body. We did a paint job on it, sanded it down, we're sanding it down, getting it ready. The customers, we're going to be doing live fire flames on it, and then we'll recoat it. So we're getting it all sanded now and prepped for that process.
Very interesting. It's almost like 2 stages of the car you're seeing here.
Yeah,
You know?
Yep. Initial paint, and then we block it down, do the live fire, and then full re-clear, sand and buff.
A lot of work.
And there is.
Now all the work that gets painted here, I guess, right down here, this is your...
We've got a 28-foot long spray booth. We have De Beer and House of Color candy system in-house. We're also looking at bringing another line. We've been approached by another company. Not yet. But yeah, we try, everything that's done in here.
So it's top of the line products, House of Color obviously.
House of Color and De Beer is a higher end European line. We try to use our quality parts, but like I said, sometimes if budgets don't warrant it, we will shop around for our clients too and go to a cheaper paint line.
So realistically though, I mean, if somebody wanted a custom color, custom flaking, custom pearl, anything and everything.
We can mix everything here in-house. We do spray outs prior to the cars being painted and get the customer to sign off on. But any graphics, custom paint, flake, pearls, whatever anybody wants.
So realistically, as a client here at Valhalla, you can literally design your car, the color, the paint, whatever you want to do, and it's all mixed here. And like I said, AJ said, it does spray outs for you and really works with to make sure it's exactly what you're looking for. So that's really important.
Yeah, it's hard from a little chip, a little color chip. So once we narrow it down to a couple choices, we'll do larger spray outs for people, and they can take them out, and they're all on aluminum panel. They can bend them and roll them because you can see the different effects of the color, especially if it's a pearl, in the sun, and see, make sure you're happy, because it's a lot of money to spend to turn around and be like, I don't know if I like that color anymore.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. So obviously, it's high-end materials, a very nice spray booth they have here, a lot of different types of builds. Now, do you have anything else going on?
We got a lot. Come on back to the construction zone.
All right, as AJ said, now we're out here in the construction zone, and as you can see, this is a little bit different from the other side of the shop. So AJ, what do you have going on in here?
So the back here is where we typically do most of the metal deconstruction to reconstruction. Do all the metal work, body filler work, a lot of the mechanicals go on back here prior to going to the other side where we do the pretty stuff, get it painted, sanded, polished, and final assembly. So what we have here is a 56 Thunderbird. Another one of those sentimental value. It's not worth doing, but it was the gentleman's father's car. I can't put a price on that. It had to be that one. The car looked like it got rolled off a hill. I mean, every panel had to be sourced because they only make patch panels for these. So we had to source all NOS sheet metal for it, which is very expensive just to get the parts alone. So we have that. We have a 60 Ford F100 pickup behind the curtain over here that we're actually doing for somebody that I know. It's a sad moment for me, but one of the guys that used to work for me passed away, and that was his truck, and his kids are doing it in his memory. So it's kind of a good and bad thing for me. It sucks that he's gone, but to be able to bring that back with his memory behind it is...
It's going to be something that the family can hold on to.
Yeah, and it makes me feel good that they thought of me that much to do it for him and for them. So then we have a pace car that just came out of hibernation. We're trying to get that one back on the road for somebody. We've got a 69 Camaro project on the other side of that. That's going to be a full custom Mile Pro Touring build. We've got another Mustang in the back. I'm sure some people will recognize.
Probably, I would think, yeah.
Doing some mechanical repairs for them. We just got in a 70 Chevelle we had started, and my customer, unfortunately, life happens, had to bail on it. But one of my other customers bought it, And it's
Okay.
going to continue the build with us a year and a half later. So it just came back this week.
So it's good about helping the clients. So when they get in a situation,
Yeah.
you try to help them in.
Absolutely.
Nice.
And then we have a custom 55 Chevy pickup with the full mechanical working tilt nose on, electric actuators, dump body, air ride. And then we have a full custom 89 Mustang Fox body. Yeah.
Very sought after these days.
Gen 3 Coyote, T56 Magnum 6-speed, full custom suspension from Maximum Motorsports. It's going to be a 2-seater roll cage, full custom build.
And remember that, folks. So, you know, it's not just paint and body they do here. It's full-on stuff. I mean, they really build a car. They can spec it out. They can do whatever they need to do. Engine, transmission,
Suspension upgrades, disc brake upgrades. We do a lot up to. We'll get a lot of. Now's the time of the year we'll get the calls. Hey, I've got an old '67 Camaro with drum brakes all the way around.
Right, yeah.
And we'll just bring it in and we do like a disc brake conversion in the front, make it a little user friendly, you know, for them.
Yeah, four-wheel drum doesn't stop that, right?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So we do everything here, from minor repairs to upgrades and swaps to full-on restoration.
Well, obviously you can see folks that AJ in the shop is always busy here. So if you do call and there is a wait time, you can see why as to all the projects here. I'm sure you've got a few more outside waiting to come in.
We do. There's a few outside today, and I've got quite a list waiting to get in here.
Well, that says a lot about our business when you have people waiting to come in.
Yes.
So, well, folks, you got a tour of the shop. You got everything here. We're going to take a walk back out front. We're going to close it out for the day here. But let's take a walk back out front. And again, we want to thank AJ for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, and thank you guys for coming by. I appreciate it. Anytime. I
And
appreciate it.
we'll take a walk back out front. Check out the rest of the stuff.
Support the Dog Pound Cruisers.
All right, folks, so that was our time here with Valhalla Restorations. I hope you guys enjoyed the tour of the shop. Obviously, as AJ said, they cater to a very wide clientele, anybody from wanting to build a driver all the way to a full custom vehicle and everything in between.
Yeah.
You know, so we appreciate your time today,
I
AJ.
appreciate you guys coming
You
by.
know, Dog Pound Cruisers, we have some great sponsors. Valhalla Restoration is definitely one of them. And if you want to reach out, you can find them online at, what's your website, AJ?
Online, it's ValhallaCustomWithAK.com. Shop number is 908-223-1136.
And there you go.
We're on Facebook and Instagram.
And again, folks, we thank AJ for his time. We thank him for his sponsorship. We do appreciate it.
I appreciate
and,
you.
Chris from the Dog Pound Cruisers, we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.